A lot of people get January at Disney World wrong. They say go in January, the holidays are done so the parks are empty. The reality? Not quite. Like that carton of eggnog that's been in the back of my fridge since Thanksgiving, Disney World advice has a way of lingering well past its shelf life. For a long time, January was the off-season, and that advice was good. But here's the thing. I broke down 5 years of wait time data, and the patterns are shifting. January isn't the hidden gem it used to be, but there are diamonds in the rough. Like one day that everyone says to avoid at Magic Kingdom, the data says that's when you should actually go. So what are the best days to go to Disney World in January? Let's break it down. Hi, I'm James Grosh from Guide to WDW, ringing in the new year with your ultimate planning guide to Disney World in January 2026. In this monthly series, I take years of wait time data, decades of personal experience, and the deluge of daily Disney news and distill it all down to just what you need to know. Think of it as a way to kickstart your New Year's resolution to visit the parks like a pro. First, I'm going to break down all the news and closures that will have an impact on crowds and your vacation, including a castle makeover, a land going extinct, and one day that Magic Kingdom closes dramatically early. Then, I'll share my week-by-week crowd predictions, including why the conventional wisdom about January might be outdated. And finally, I'll reveal my January-specific advice about which days are the best to visit each park and which days you should avoid, with some results that genuinely surprised me. So let's start with the tour around the world with the news, events, and closures that will impact your vacation, beginning with Magic Kingdom. A lot of us are saying New Year, New Me, and that includes Cinderella Castle. The pink look Disney debuted for the 50th anniversary? That's so 2021. The classic grays, creams, blues, and touches of gold are all coming back, starting soon. Sometime in January, Disney will begin painting the castle, starting with draining the moat. And this painting will change your Magic Kingdom photo strategy, because tall cranes will surround the castle during the painting. Disney says that the equipment will be lowered and moved out of sight by noon, so save your castle pictures for the afternoon and evening at Magic Kingdom, at least until the painting finishes later in 2026. The repainting will also have a small impact on entertainment. Starting January 28th, the Let the Magic Begin welcome show will run in a modified format. Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair and Happily Ever After will continue with only minor adjustments. Speaking of entertainment, Disney Starlight will go to one performance a night on certain nights this month, so be sure to check the entertainment schedule. On the closure side, Big Thunder Mountain and Buzz Lightyear remain closed for their major refurbishments, but we now have a spring timeline for their reopening. And Pete's Silly Sideshow closes January 4th, but the characters will be greeting guests elsewhere in Storybook Circus during the temporary closure. And there's one important date to flag. Magic Kingdom closes early to guests at 4:30 p.m. on January 27th for a special ceremony honoring cast members. Over at Epcot, it's time to get in touch with your dramatic side, because the Festival of the Arts kicks off January 16th and runs through February 23rd. That's 39 days of art, food, and performances, including one of my family's favorite things to see all year at Disney World, Disney on Broadway, which returns with shows at 5:30, 6:45, and 8 p.m. nightly. These are some of the most talented performers on the planet, singing songs you know and love from Disney's best Broadway adaptations. This is a can't miss. But I'm most excited and most nervous about what's new this year, the Disney Lorcana activities. First, there's the Illuminators Lounge at the Morocco Pavilion, where you can participate in the Collection Quest, which lets you open Disney Lorcana booster packs and trade cards with other guests. There's also the Ink and Find Scavenger Hunt, which sends you to find larger-than-life trading cards across Epcot. I love a scavenger hunt, and both this and the Collection Quest reward you with one of 3 limited edition Magical Places promo cards themed to the festival, featuring Donald Duck, Rapunzel, and Stitch. The whole thing is giving me Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom vibes, and I love it. But I am nervous because, as you can probably tell from my studio, I love collecting things. Maybe a bit too much. And I know myself well enough that I've been avoiding Lorcana for this very reason. But the Festival of the Arts could be a good excuse to dip my toes in the water. What's the worst that can happen? Hopefully that clip will not be used in a documentary about my collectible card-driven downfall. Epcot does have a major closure to note. Frozen Ever After closes January 26th for a very exciting update. Those screen faces? Time to let it go, because the Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff animatronics will be upgraded to have physical faces like they have in Hong Kong Disneyland. This is great and fixes one of the few complaints I have with the ride. If only they were also bringing the free-roaming Olaf animatronic Imagineering just revealed to Epcot too. I have a lot more to say about him in an upcoming Future World video, so get subscribed so you don't miss that. Frozen Ever After will reopen sometime in February. Let's move over to Hollywood Studios, where you might be feeling a bittersweet emotion because Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith is in its second to last month ever. This version of the ride closes permanently on March 2nd to make way for the Muppet takeover in the summer. The coaster will remain the same, but the theming and soundtrack will have a Muppety makeover. At Animal Kingdom, it's the final countdown to extinction. DinoLand USA closes permanently on February 2nd to make way for Tropical Americas. Dr. Seeker shouting, "We're not gonna make it," is gonna hit different this month. Although it is incredible that he kept his job for as long as he did, considering he has been endangering guests with honestly reckless time travel practices for almost 28 years. So your last chance to see this rule-breaking icon is throughout this month and February 1st. Resort-wide, we have a few big updates and events. The Walt Disney World Marathon takes place January 7th through 11th. The races run through the parks in the early morning hours, but the bigger impact is on crowds, which I'll break down in the forecast. Holiday decorations typically come down after Marathon weekend, which is January 12th. So if you want to see the Christmas trees one last time, aim for the first week or two. If you're going to Epcot or Hollywood Studios at the end of the month, or staying at a Skyliner resort, listen closely, because the Skyliner is having its annual refurbishment and will be closed from January 25th through January 31st. A closure is also planned for the last week of January in 2027, so plan on using alternate transportation methods like the buses. Let's talk late night events. First of all, Disney After Hours returns, and this is one of my favorite hard-ticketed events. You have to buy an extra ticket for it, but you get several hours in the parks with extremely low crowds, and pretty much every ride is a walk-on. If doing rides is your #1 priority, this is one of the best bang for your buck things you can do at Disney World. Plus, you get complimentary snacks and sodas. It's at Magic Kingdom January 12th and 19th, at Hollywood Studios January 14th and 28th, and at Epcot on January 22nd and 29th. Next, extended evening hours, the free perk for deluxe resort guests that lets you stay in the park 2 hours after closing. And this January is a rare month. Extended evening hours takes place at all 4 parks at least once. At Epcot, it's the first 3 Mondays of the month, and Hollywood Studios on Monday, January 26th. At Magic Kingdom, it's the first 3 Wednesdays of the month, and at Animal Kingdom, it's on January 1st and Wednesday, January 28th. Extended evening hours always makes crowds go up at that park, even during regular hours. So keep watching to find out how to plan around it in my roundup of the best days to go and the best days to avoid. And if you want to avoid a lot of the stress that comes with planning a theme park or cruise vacation, one of the smartest things you can do is work with an authorized Disney travel agent. If you're planning a trip this month or any month, use my link on screen or below to work with Vacationeer, the official travel agency of Guide to WDW. They can do all the planning for you for free, like booking dining reservations, plus they make sure that you get the best deal possible, even if a better deal comes out after you book. Alright, let's look at what to expect for crowds in January. And I have to be honest with you, January has a reputation as one of the best months to visit Disney World. And there are a lot of great things about January, especially the Festival of the Arts, the Marathon, and the weather. But when it comes to crowds and lines, the data tells a more complicated story. January is no longer the off-season. Back in 2021 and 2022, there were several weeks that I'd categorize as light, in the top 20 for shortest wait times. But over the last 3 years, everything has shifted to moderate to heavy range. But there are a few weeks that are still on the lighter end of moderate, and some days that should be downright light, so here's what to expect for this month. The first week of January through about January 5th is the tail end of the holiday rush. This is one of the busiest weeks of the entire year. We're talking top 5 busiest, some years it's the busiest. This is still the end of December in disguise. Expect long lines. So the crowds go away the second week of January, right? Kinda. The second week of January features the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, running January 7th through 11th. Conventional wisdom says that crowds spike during this week, and that can happen. When the marathon is early in the month and coincides with the New Year's rush, like it did in 2023 and 2024, crowds can be absolutely brutal. Lines are not only long, but they're filled with tens of thousands of highly motivated runners who are already accomplishing one of their New Year's resolutions and making me feel bad for getting another cheeseburger egg roll. Not that I'm talking from specific personal experience. But this year, the marathon is a little later, similar to 2025, so overall crowds should be in the moderate range. Last year, lines dropped 35% from New Year's week to marathon week. But here's where things get interesting. Look at what happened last year. Lines ticked up during the 5K and 10K days, but then they actually dropped on the weekend during the half marathon and even more during the full marathon Sunday. And it makes sense. The 5K and 10K are much shorter races and take less time, so runners can do the race and then go do the parks afterwards. But for the half marathon and the full marathon, many of the runners need to rest afterwards. So the impact on lines really affects Wednesday through Friday, and the weekend is actually a bit lighter. The following week has the opposite crowd pattern because it's Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. This week has been in the moderate to busy range over the past 4 years, but that's really due to the weekend. The weekdays themselves should be pretty light, with crowds increasing significantly from Friday to the following Monday. MLK weekend was the third busiest holiday weekend at Disney World from 2022 to 2024. It's not quite as crazy crowded as Easter or President's Day, but you'll definitely notice the crowds. Friday also features the kickoff of the Festival of the Arts, so I'd expect heavier crowds at Epcot this weekend as well, especially with locals checking out the new offerings. The fourth week, January 19th through 25th, is where I start to diverge from the conventional wisdom. Most crowd calendars say that late January features the lowest crowds of the month. But that's just wrong. If you look at 2024 and 2025, the data shows it trending busier, not lighter. Wait times went up the end of January going into February after MLK Day. We're talking top 25% of the year in recent years. This is the biggest gap between what many crowd calendars say and what recent crowd patterns show. The final week of January continues this pattern. The Festival of the Arts is in full swing, and there are also a few cheer and sports competitions that draw in extra visitors. It's not nearly as crowded as the start of the month, but just know what you're getting into. Okay, you know the best and busiest weeks. Time to break down which days you should go to which parks, because crowds can shift wildly from day to day. And there are some recommendations for January that genuinely surprised me. So let's start at Epcot. I'd avoid Mondays the most because of extended evening hours, except for the last Monday of the month, which doesn't have it at Epcot. But when Epcot does have extended evening hours, wait times are about 9% longer than an average day. I'd also avoid Fridays and Saturdays, especially after the Festival of the Arts kicks off on January 16th. Locals rush to Epcot on the weekends for the festival, and it has resulted in longer lines the last couple of years, with Fridays having 11% longer waits and Saturdays getting a 7.5% bump. The best days stick to the middle of the week. Tuesday and Wednesday have had consistently 10 to 16% lower than average wait times at Epcot, making them your best bet for shorter lines. Thursday is also solid. At Hollywood Studios, avoid Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all ranging from around 5 to 10% busier than a normal day. Instead, stick to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday. Tuesday was the least crowded day at the studios over the last 2 years, saving you almost 10% in shorter wait times. At Animal Kingdom, avoid Saturday, which is usually pretty busy, but had 10% longer than average wait times in 2024 and 23% longer than average wait times in 2025. Friday and Sunday are also in the avoid territory. Which days to pick? Go for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Those days should be significantly less crowded than the weekend. And now we get to the big surprise. Magic Kingdom has some recommendations for January that go against what I pick for other times of the year. I'd avoid Friday the most. It's been trending the busiest day at Magic Kingdom in January, running about 14% above average in 2024 and 2025. That's a big jump from earlier years. I'd also avoid the first 3 Wednesdays of the month due to extended evening hours, and Thursday has also been slightly above average. Saturday is a wild card. From 2022 through 2024, it was consistently the second best day of the week. But in 2025, it jumped to second busiest day, with 14% longer than average waits. So if you pick Saturday, do so with caution. But you don't need caution with the best days in Magic Kingdom. Sunday, which is dramatically lighter at about 13% below average. Plus Monday and Tuesday, which have both improved significantly in recent years. Yes, you heard that right. Monday at Magic Kingdom has gotten lighter in January. It used to be one of the busiest days, but in 2024 and 2025, it was actually in the lighter half. so going to Magic Kingdom on a Monday might be a sneaky good decision this month. I'll be back with another monthly data deep dive for February, where we'll look at whether President's Day weekend lives up to its busy reputation. And if you'd like to support the channel and get ad-free videos, you can join the Guide to WDW Patreon for just $5 at the link below. This has been James Grosh from Guide to WDW. Thanks for watching, Happy New Year, and I'll see you real soon.